2021 to order. Please note the September 20th meeting of this commission will be conducted pursuant to the Governor's Executive Order N-2920. The meeting will be held via teleconference, and commissioners and the public will participate via teleconference. Those locations are not listed on the agenda and are not accessible to the public. The public is encouraged to listen to the Advisory Redistricting Commission meeting live via the City of Woodland's website, right? We're not pushing it to Channel 20. If you wish to make a comment during public comment or on a specific agenda item, there are 3 ways to do that. One is join the Zoom Advisory Redistricting Commission meeting remotely by either logging on to the Zoom link located on the meeting agenda. Please be sure to download the app on your computer or mobile device and enter the meeting ID, or by calling a listed number and enter the meeting messages received by 6 p.m. They will be played during the commission meeting and read into the record at the appropriate time. 3, you are watching the live stream and wish to make a comment on an item as it is being heard, you may submit an email to the city clerk at councilmeetings@cityofwoodland.org. Prior to public comment on that item, email comments submitted to be read into the record shall be no more than 3 minutes when read aloud. Please include the agenda item in the subject line. Okay. So with that being said, Madam Clerk, would you please take roll?
Yes, thank you. Bernardi?
Here.
East?
Here.
Kimball?
Here.
Moreno?
Here.
Simas? Simas, I guess, is not
joined
logged
yet.
in yet.
Okay. I guess now we'll open it to item C, public comment. Is there any public comment?
I will check my emails real quick.
Thank you.
And I don't have any emails. Let me see. Nobody raising their hand.
Okay.
No public comment.
With that, moving forward, we'll move to item D, minutes. Given that we received this on Friday last week, may I have a motion to approve minutes?
Yeah, I didn't read them. I'm going to, because I just didn't realize that it went to the other email. So I trust that they were correct. I don't know if somebody else had a chance to look through them. I would appreciate if somebody else could let me know that they looked correct.
I move
Okay,
to approve the minutes.
Okay, first by East. May I have a second? If we don't feel comfortable, can we move this on to the next meeting to give members a chance to review it, Ken?
Yeah, no, you
Yes.
can certainly defer the approval of minutes to the next meeting if you're more comfortable.
Okay,
That's why I was asking if somebody's read them and they trust them. I'm good with you guys. I'm just asking if somebody else can comment on that.
I would like to postpone it. I still haven't found my
Okay.
email that was sent to me. So
Okay.
if Anna has access to that and you could send it to me, I would really appreciate it.
Okay, thank you. I will.
okay, so let's go ahead and push that to the next meeting. Thank you. So that moves us to item E for the presentations.
Yeah, Anna, are you able to share screen and maybe pull up the agenda packet that was sent out?
Yeah, I never received the agenda packet,
Yes, let me.
but it could have gone to another email.
Well, so this is the situation, guys. It went to our new City of Woodland emails, which I did not even go into and take a look at yet. So if you guys are
Okay.
like me,
Yeah.
you probably haven't done that either. That's, I think, what happened. It's not going to be to your regular email address. It's going to be to that new City of Woodland address that we have.
Okay, so here's the attachment that was in the packet. Should we go over that first, Ken?
Yeah, I think, first of all, quick reminder. So when we adjourned last week, it was on the tail end of a lengthy sort of free flow discussion around how do we approach public input process? What does a format look like? What does a sequence and a calendar schedule look like? So, the committee was kind of trying to get their mind wrapped around all of that. We suggested, well, let's, maintain some momentum. Let's meet this week. Let's break it down maybe and focus on schedule first and say, what's the time frame that we need to work with? What is the legal sort of minimum requirement that we have to achieve to meet the Voters' Right Act? And then in that schedule, how and where do we want to interject opportunity for public input through a community workshop series or process? And so in the packet, what Anna and I attempted to do was for discussion and complete, transparency around other ways to approach it. We outlined initial calendar and kind of a format and approach to get that public input, and even went so far as to suggest where we might hold each of these meetings so that you guys can provide some feedback as to, are those the right locations, and if we distribute it throughout the community well enough. So Anna, I don't know if you're able to pull up that maybe that calendar.
Which one, Ken?
Well, in the packet, right, we attached that so that draft schedule
Oh,
meetings.
the one that's on the screen? Yeah, do you see it on the screen?
No, we're only able to see your file system here in Drive.
Oh,
Yeah, it's just the list of all of your files. It's not the actual, it hasn't been opened.
okay.
Yeah, we see you highlighted the schedule and locations.
Right.
Yeah, and I have at the top yours sharing screen.
In view
And then
options,
the other-
maybe in the options of the view on top, there's a Zoom
New
setting.
share, maybe? Oh, here we go. I did new share, maybe. Do you see anything now?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, good. Okay.
There we go.
There. Is that,
Yep.
everyone can see that? Okay.
That work large enough for everybody to see.
Looks good here.
Yes.
So I'll just talk you through kind of what we sketched out here and some of the thinking behind it. And again, let's, feel free to sort of comment, suggest different approaches. But what I threw out was maybe second week in October, what we do is we hold the first public hearing, and that would be a meeting at City Hall, probably in a hybrid virtual format. So if people wanted to attend in person, they could, but also set it up so it's available on Zoom. And in that first public hearing, we would basically, outline for the community, why are we doing this process? What's the requirements? And some background on how we need to go about conducting our public input and ultimately making recommendation to council on a map or a series of maps. And so that would be kind of a grounding sort of initial sort of public meeting where we're able to provide that information in detail to the community, have the community ask questions about the process. And then we would also then sort of detail the public input opportunities that folks would be afforded over the course of the next several months. And so what we've suggested here is maybe what we do is we then launch into this community workshop phase where ultimately we go out and we hold a workshop in each of the districts at a accessible sort of familiar location, and hold these workshops in kind of an open house format for a couple hours where people can come and go, likely in the evenings, and they can come and get some more detailed information on, how the districts work and what kind of information input we're seeking from them. But ultimately have an opportunity for folks at these workshops to, through a series of different, formats, however they're comfortable, either on a paper copy. Some communities are doing laminated kind of dry erase formats, but possibly even, have some computer stations where people can sort of draw boundaries around their neighborhood of interest or community of interest, and record, that feedback at each of those meetings, and then come back in March of next year, hold a second public hearing where we report back some of the key themes and areas of common sort of feedback that we've received, and get additional community input on any of that feedback that they want to offer, and then follow that up in a couple weeks with a second public hearing where the commission would put forth some preliminary recommendations around some maps, get the input from the community on those preliminary recommendations. And then you would take that information and come back as a committee or commission and make a final recommendation to the council on one, or if you're in a situation where there's several maps that make sense to the commission, you can certainly say, hey, either one or three of these maps could make sense for the community council, you guys decide. And so the committee would then make a recommendation to the council, and the council would hold a final public hearing to receive input on those maps and select a final map for adoption. So again, for discussion purposes, that's kind of something to start to work with framework, and feel free to take it a different direction or, refine it from here. But next week, what I'd hope is once we settle on this schedule, we'll drill in a little bit more detail in each of these formats as to, how do we want to set up these meetings to make sure they're engaging and useful to both the commission, but also the community. And then we can talk about the marketing and promotion and getting the word out as well. So I'll give it back to the chair to kind of manage the commission's discussion from here.
Thank you. I think this was a good job. I saw Bernardi, you have your hand up.
I have just a couple of questions and for clarification. I would say offhand, I like the dates. I like the diversity of times and days of the week. So I think that all looks very good to me. Is the anticipation that the last hearing would be the city council meeting, or all the meetings listed on this calendar for this advisory commission?
Yeah, my thought would be the last public hearing would be held by the city council itself. Anna or Ethan, keep me honest on this. The council has to hold one of the hearings, is that correct? Or can the commission hold all four of these?
No, I believe the council has to hold at least two of them.
Oh, two of them? Okay.
Yeah, so, and all the last three you have on council meeting nights.
Okay.
Okay.
And the last deadline was a little bit later than that April 5th date, as I recollect.
Yes, April 17th.
Right. Okay. And so then the other question I had was, in terms of how the map comes out, as I understand it, it'll be out shortly after the 27th. And that will just be the map with the data from the census, but there won't really be anything drawn on it. And at what point in time do we see any delineations made on the map in terms of this schedule? If my question makes sense.
Well, if I interpret your question, at what point does the commission start to adjust boundaries and put forth alternative maps for public input?
I guess my first question is, what does the website look like when that map is first uploaded? Does it have the current district boundaries on it? Sort of loaded up with different criteria that we get from the census about demographics?
Yeah, I mean, a good question. My instinct would be that we would take the existing district boundaries and repopulate it with current census data. And then, put some disclaimers that, here's the task at hand is to redistribute the voter population equally across all districts, and highlight, right, where those districts that maybe have a disproportionate balance of the population will need to be adjusted.
And so I'll be done with my questions soon, I promise. And so then there might be different, draft maps proposed that could be either drawn on the website in some form, or we could discuss, and those could be up for discussion. And I guess my question is, at what point in this schedule do we have some drafts to discuss, or do we wait until we kind of have the final one at the last public hearing?
Well, I would think we would want to get as much information and feedback before we start looking at new draft maps. I mean, the way I would think about it would be in that Tuesday, March 1st, second public hearing would be the first time, so to speak, that new draft, and to the public anyway, that new draft maps would be proposed, but I don't know. That's just the way I was thinking about it. Like, we would be gathering information at all of these community workshops before we were starting to do any changes to the maps.
But that only gives us, as a commission, one public meeting to view what we are looking at as a map, make suggested changes, and agree as a group that this is what we will be recommending to the city council. And I to the extent you're saying, Mary, that we should have a lot of input before we make a decision, I completely agree with that. We're looking for public input, but at the same time, I'm worried about the way the schedule kind of marches forward, and then we're at that March 15th where, actually almost March 5th, we're almost done, right?
Yeah, I think it might be wise to leave, the entire month of February for the commission to sort of work through their own sort of recommendations on maps. So if we could get through the workshops, in November, December, and January, which should give us plenty of time to figure out how to find dates to work. And then that'll give you all of February to kind of work as a commission to settle in on a series of maps.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. That helps.
Yeah.
An example here. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. What are we looking at here?
Hold on. I didn't know you guys, are you looking?
We can see what you're doing, Anna. So we now are seeing the Davis Community Workshop schedule or something. I don't know what we're seeing.
Okay, I'm sorry, I didn't know. I was gonna show this to you later, but I think it was Anne that wanted, or maybe Peggy wanted to know what other cities were doing. And one of the cities that I contacted was Davis, the city of Davis. And the city clerk let me know that they went to districts in 2019. And what they did, what the consultants provided at their workshop, and Ken mentioned this earlier, was they provided laminated maps for the people that attended the workshops. And she said they were large maps, like the size of placemats, and provided at the workshops a whole bunch of these blank maps and dry erase markers, and community members would just start outlining districts, but
Yeah, I
this is
think that's
loading.
great, but I thought we were going to talk about that at the next meeting. But anyway, can we go back to the
Schedule?
schedule?
David, I have a
Yeah.
couple of questions.
I know there was other questions. Yeah.
Member East, I apologize.
I just noticed that we have one day and one weekend, which is Saturday, February 12th. For those who work nights or late after or go on the late afternoon shift, there isn't really a time for them to, I mean, they can go online and do it, but there isn't a group time for them to participate.
Right, I saw that too.
If we could make one of them, another one a day, or
Another Saturday one, is that what you were suggesting now?
maybe another Saturday, or District 3, my district goes to a day, and we can do a day and a night. I mean, I just hate to just have to say that you can only come at night.
Yeah, and on weeknights, I noticed the same, that all but one are 6:30 p.m.
Yeah.
So I
That's
don't.
because I think, Ethan, you can correct me, but I thought that it stated that they had to be either after 6 o'clock or a Saturday or a Sunday. Is that correct, Ethan?
Not all of them, just that you have to offer that an opportunity for some of them to be one of those. So like we have all of them within those categories. We don't need to do that.
Yeah.
Okay.
Just one, right? At least one.
At least one, yeah.
But I think we should have more than one.
Okay.
That's
I do
a
too.
little more diversity, like Anne was saying there. I have a question about, do we feel like the community center, I'm trying to think about where the Spring Lake group would come, like, you know, and provide feedback. And my guess is that would be the community center. That would be the best location for them. Is there another place that I'm missing in Spring Lake? Is there a fire station? Is there a
Pioneer High School or
Pioneer High?
Yeah. Or Spring Lake Elementary is another popular location.
Yeah, maybe an elementary school wouldn't be a bad idea. I feel like we're missing. I was kind of thinking, is there something super central for Spring Lake, the Spring Lake community?
I think the ones that are listed are fine. I think Pioneer High School would be fine. I'd just be a little bit concerned about the COVID aspects of going into a school when they're in school during the day and that stuff. So to me, I don't really think that any particular spot is going to either induce people or dissuade them, given the community center or the community college. They're all there. So
Could we possibly District 3, and I'm assuming that you don't have to come specifically for you within your district. You can come to any of these.
Right. No, I don't think that it's limited to that.
It's just limited to those.
No, I don't think it's
No.
limited to
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So there's a new event center opening up over on Kentucky Avenue. It's one of the big tractor places, and right next to it is a big building. I'm happy with taking the workshop for District 3 and making it a Saturday at 1:30 at that new center. So then we would have 2 Saturdays.
I think that's a good idea.
What is that? Can somebody tell me what you're talking about?
Yeah.
That sounds really cool. I didn't even know.
There's a new event center that's opening up. It's with Dan Brown. I don't know if any of you know, but he's has the front half of a warehouse, and it's a Kentucky Avenue north side, right before you go over the overpass. Overpass.
Is this a private building then? We need to get permission from somebody or?
No, he is able to hold, the owners of the building have donated the space to him.
I'd be more comfortable using existing public facilities that are commonly used for public meetings myself.
It's open to the public. It'll be used. Anybody can use it. Other than that, we can move it to home church, or if we're going to move it to a Saturday, I don't know what that means to open the Woodland High School.
Yeah, that's a good point. If it's a Saturday, it might need to be a little bit of a different kind of location. I don't know what the schools Peggy was talking about schools during school hours, but none of these are during school hours. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know what the schools would do, because when I've tried to use it for other, non-governmental events, they charge you.
Yeah. Yeah, luckily that probably would be okay, but it's a good point that we would have to definitely ensure that they were okay with use of it and would need to have their staff there and that kind of thing, which does imply that they would need to pay for it to a certain extent to have staff there. So that's a good point.
And to add on there, somewhat of an aspect of using already existing public spaces is some familiarity within the community.
Mm-hmm.
So they'd be more comfortable, in my opinion, the people would be more comfortable in going to a location that they know of. This new event center it's a new event center that's constructed, Anne, or is it?
It's an existing building. They just had their opening last week.
Oh, okay.
And it's open to any group to hold an event, any public event, any fundraising event, anything like that. I guess the other one is, and I don't know if it's considered a government building, but then there's also Norton Hall, which is in District 3.
Mm-hmm.
Norton Hall.
Yeah, Norton Hall is a good one.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It's used by a lot of different groups, 4-H, and lots of groups go there. Probably Girl Scouts, Boy Scouts. I don't even know who all uses it, which is another that Boy Scout building is another site that's certainly very public. Yeah, I feel like it's a little school heavy, to be honest.
Mhm.
So I wouldn't, although that is where lots of people in the community go to, of course, if they've got children in the school system, or they had them in the past and they're comfortable with going there and know all the sites. I'm wondering about the fairgrounds. I like the fairgrounds as a site, but I'm wondering, I don't know. Does it feel a little too big almost? Like, where do we go with the fairgrounds?
So I did contact each of the different high schools. They seem to be okay. They have a use of facility form and they're going to require insurance. And I also did contact the Yolo County Fairgrounds, and they are offering a building that's smaller, one of the halls. Says it holds about 60 people. It's called the Morovia Hall. It's got about capacity for about 60 people, some tables and chairs, and that would be the smaller of the halls that would be potentially available. Yeah, I'd have to fill out, for any of these, I'd have to fill out a use form to see if they're even available, but I did contact everybody so far.
Another option for District 4 could be Fire Station 3. We have that community space there that's certainly be large enough to accommodate. Yeah, I'm with Mary. The fairgrounds can be a little overwhelming as to trying to find where you're going.
Right.
A lot of signage, I feel.
And then like which side, and I don't know. I just feel like it could get a little bit
And if there's something else going on.
Yeah, exactly. Like a dog show or
Right.
something.
Gun show.
And show, yeah.
Yeah.
Is
This
there
is
a
Jay
way,
from IT. I want to mention I've been in an event at the fairgrounds in those buildings, and unless if you have a PA system you bring with you, the acoustics in those rooms are very challenging.
Yeah, that's a good point too. Yeah.
so I know that the gentleman at the mall is trying to do pop-up Saturdays. Is there a way to do a Saturday at the mall?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think that's mostly outside. I don't know if it's inside as well. I've certainly seen folks outside, kind of literally like pop-up tents kind of deal. But that's a good point that it could be a place, maybe it's not a community workshop, but it could certainly be a place where we could have information available on this process and where they could go to give feed, to either to one of the community meetings or online. That's a good point. I've seen that, Ann.
So we're not tied. I mean, you mentioned Fire Station 3. That's in the 5th district, but the district doesn't have to be, the district workshop doesn't have to be in the district, so to speak, right? Because
yeah, I mean, be nice to be close, but
Yeah.
I'd actually be cautious about calling it a workshop for District 1. Because again, we want to make sure that, if that date or that time happens to work for somebody, they don't feel like they can't attend that one because it's not their district, right?
yeah,
So I think as long as we're conscious of just kind of distributing it throughout the community,
Mm-hmm.
not overly burden ourselves with the boundaries of the current districts, we should be fine.
Yeah.
okay.
And just to be clear on that point, this isn't a requirement. We're
Right.
just doing this as a means to try and evenly distribute
Yeah.
the workshops, but there's no requirement to hold one in each district.
Got it.
So could we, with the understanding that we'll look for a space or a location in District 3 to move it to a Saturday?
Absolutely.
Well, I definitely think we need at least 2 Saturdays. So
Mhm.
I don't know if it matters which district it's in, but I definitely think we need 2 Saturdays.
And then do we need a
Yeah.
late afternoon option for folks that isn't at 6:30 in the
Middle of
evening?
the day, yeah.
Yeah.
A 4
Or
to
the
6 p.m.
6:30.
option?
I think that's good for some
Yep.
working families.
Well, the other thing that it brings to mind is retired folks. I'm sorry I mean, honestly, especially as we get into these winter months, I'm going to be honest with you, even 6:30 is pretty late, right? So
Yeah.
when I have meetings with Yolo County Flood Control and they start at 7, I'm all in December and January. I'm like, whoa, I feel like it's 10 o'clock. So maybe that's because I have to get up at 4. But I do feel like we should take into consideration that a lot of these are winter months times, and so that's starting to get late, and we should have, you're right, a 4 o'clock or something like that.
I'll take back my Saturday and make Tuesday, January 11th, and make it at 4 o'clock. Okay. And then the school, Woodland High School, their people are still there.
Yeah.
Some might be.
Yeah, they may be using the gym, which is likely where we would
Yeah.
be relegated to.
Well, even later, I mean, I'm sure that, you got basketball season and stuff like that. So you start having games. So this is another part of that coordination of times and dates.
So we can follow up on some of those details,
Okay.
get a general sense from the commissioners, kind of what the balance is you want to strike.
And then what you had said earlier, which I thought was a good one, which was keeping February really more for our own meetings.
Mhm.
And so that means that the not public hearings, the workshops would be kind of pushed to mostly November, December, and January. Is that what you're thinking? Yeah, I like that. It's a little bit more compressed. It's feeling a little
drawn out
on those community workshops.
Just to make another point on that point, because I do think that's a good idea, but just so everyone has a complete understanding as well. The council has to hold at least 2 public hearings after they receive your recommendation. So the way this is structured right now, you would have to make your recommendation by the, on or before the March 1st meeting. Because the last 2 would have to be public hearings held after they have your recommendations. So, so that's, all the more reason to condense the workshops and leave February available for you to, kind of deliberate over the information that you gather.
That would be a quick turnover. Yeah.
Okay. Are you saying that you'd recommend the second public hearing at the end of February?
Well, no, I just wanted to, I'm not necessarily saying that. I'm just saying that the last 2, the March one would be, you would have to have made a recommendation either at that time or before that. So, you don't have to, it's just those last, and during those last 2, the city council will have had to receive your recommendation by then.
Okay.
And so we can have meetings that are not public workshops, right? And that would be after we got all the input, and we would start to really try to integrate that into a map.
Yep.
Right. That would be meetings like this, this format.
The public could watch and public could comment, but it would not be the workshop that we're thinking about for these other events. And so I guess the question, and I don't have an opinion on this, but I can kind of see as we gather all the information from people, we hear from them, and then we start to meet to integrate those comments into boundaries on a map. And what does that process look like? And what does that public feedback look like? So, we could be presenting a map, and then do we have a chance to get public feedback on the draft that we're presenting, as opposed to just sort of random thoughts that are not tied into a map? And usually you would have it that we would kind of approve a tentative map, and then we would hear public comment on it, and then we would sort of finalize or tweak that map before we make the final recommendation to the council. But I don't know if we want to build in that kind of time, or maybe we could do it as we needed to and towards the end.
Yeah, you could schedule a, first public hearing on a draft initial map on the 24th of February, for example, and then hold as a placeholder a second public hearing if the feedback or comment you received on the 24th caused you to want to refine that and bring back a final recommendation.
I mean, just to be on the safe side, I think we should kind of work something like that into the schedule so that we have that option and we're not feeling like we're just up against a wall without too many choices.
I agree. I feel like it gives staff as well some time to, take back what we offer, and then, that gives us ample time to go back to the second public hearing to the March 1st meeting. Yeah. If we can, is there a way we can add that, Ken? Anna?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Thank you.
And so what's currently put down as a public or community workshop on February 24th would be moved earlier, is what I was hearing you say. Pretty much everything moved back into January or December.
Right. Yeah. November, December, and January, we get all those workshops.
Yeah.
Keeping in mind the holidays, right? Like people are zoned out during holidays. So Thanksgiving, Christmas area, they're just less interactive, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah.
Okay. I think so too. Okay. Is there would that be the recommendation of the board then? That we can go with, we can give it to staff, and then would we meet next week again, or what did we agree on?
Can I just go back a bit? I think it would be very useful if we could just pencil in some dates here. Does anybody want to do that?
Thank you. That would be helpful for me to recreate a different schedule.
Okay.
So I think October 12th looks good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I like the first community workshop being starting in the beginning of November. I mean, potentially we could have another one in November.
Yeah, I would do 2 before Thanksgiving,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 1 between Thanksgiving and
Yep,
the end of the year, and then 2 in January.
yep.
So all we have to do is move 2. Well, we have the 2 in February. So would we be moving those 2 in February into January and leaving the first 3, October, November, December, in place?
No, that's what we were just saying. 2 in November. So the November 8th and likely 1.
Oh, another one in November. Got it.
Thanksgiving, and then 1 in probably that December 15th is a good time. And then 2 in January. That should work.
So, okay.
So you just would move up basically.
So what's the date in November then?
Oh, I need to.
So Thanksgiving is the 25th. So you'd want to do it the week prior,
Mm-hmm.
week of the 15th. So council has a meeting on the 16th. So we could do the 17th or 18th, which would be a Wednesday or Thursday.
Yep.
Maybe Wednesday the 17th.
I think
we should have a Saturday one before the end of the year. So again, going back to diversity, if that first one is on a Monday,
Yeah,
second
The 20th, the 20th is a Saturday,
that 20th. Yeah.
yeah,
but it's also the Saturday before Thanksgiving. If people are traveling, I don't know.
that would be a long travel, but sure.
I'd say the 20th of November is a good date for the
Yeah.
second one in November.
I think that's good.
And what time?
I honestly don't know. People probably have a better sense of what's the Saturday's time frame are good for folks. I don't know if we wanted to do one.
maybe like
1:30 seems fine,
maybe like morning one, 10 a.m. one, because
Yeah.
the evening, that's just a suggestion. I leave it to board members to throw in their pitch.
I think
I
10
just-
o'clock is good.
Yep, that's fine.
Okay.
I think just diversity is the key.
Yeah.
Right.
And then the next one could be as is, a Wednesday, 6:30, or we do an earlier one, going back to the point of 6:30 in December is late. Maybe it's 4:30 or 5, I don't know, just to
Yeah, we do an early one. Yeah,
a little earlier than 6:30.
4 to 6 on the 15th.
If people are coming home from work, they're not going to want to go home and then come out again. So if you wanted to do it at 5, then you catch people on their way home.
Well, if you did a 4 to 6 window, right, you get that.
They don't have to be there all 2 hours. The goal is this is like a workshop. You can just kind of come and go for 15 minutes if you wanted.
Yeah, open house. Yeah.
Yeah, open house. Yeah.
Okay.
I like the 4 to 6 in December, or 4:30 to 6:30.
We need to keep that in mind too, then when we're scheduling or when we're coordinating the itinerary, the agenda, to make it so that people can come in, not have to feel awkward to, hop in there and jump right into action. So just
Yeah.
back at the top.
Then we could do January 11th.
Mm-hmm.
And then we need to move the February 12th or February 20th, the February 12th back into January, I guess.
Yeah.
I move for the 22nd, that Saturday.
Do another Saturday in January.
Another Saturday, yeah. I like that. And that one, keep that at the 1:30.
So
That's
I'm
not
sorry, can I
Day weekend, right?
interrupt real quick?
ahead,
I'm
Anna.
looking at one of the, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Ethan, can you just confirm, I'm looking at one of the trainings that I attended, and it specifically says on the hearings, it says at least, oh, I'm sorry. That's the hearings. Never mind. We're talking workshops.
Yeah.
Right.
We're okay. Okay. Yep. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
So the January 22nd at 1:30 would be the final.
Right. And then we would be aiming to get our final recommendation done on February 24th, or would that be by March 1st? I guess we would have some flex time within there.
Yeah, February, the goal with February, it was our own internal meetings. I mean, yeah, and they're open to the public, as people said, but they're these kinds of meetings versus the community workshops or the public hearing.
It gave us the time to, draft up the first map, right? Before coming to the first or second hearing to the city hall, first presentation of a draft map to the council.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So sorry, that means a public hearing held by the commission on maybe a Thursday, the February 24th. And then that would be initial presentation of the commission's map for public input. You have an option to hold a follow-up public hearing on March 1st to make a final recommendation, or sufficiently take action and make recommendation on the 24th if you're comfortable, right?
What if we make that the 21st so that way we keep, or I don't know, I can't remember. I'm sorry if we stuck to Mondays, but so that way we're not throwing it in the loop. Or board members, I open it to you all.
Well, that's a ways out there. I don't know. I don't care.
21st
As
is
long as it's far enough away that I can get into my schedule, I don't really care.
Okay, then 24th
is a holiday, though.
It's a holiday. Yeah, I don't know if it matters. It's a holiday.
Yes, it definitely does. I don't want to do a meeting on a holiday. Sorry.
Okay, we'll keep President's Day off. All right.
Yeah.
I'm actually kind of interested in stretching that period out, not making it shorter.
Yeah.
I'm a little worried about the work that we'll need to do during that time.
Okay, so we'll keep the 24th.
And just to be clear on this, just one additional point that I wanted to make. So we probably wouldn't have the meeting where you're making the recommendation on the 1st, because that's actually a council meeting night.
Yeah.
Since you're developing that, you're probably not going to do it at a council meeting. So we do have some flex time around there, as long as you get it to them before the public hearing on the 15th.
The 15th is the deadline for the council. Okay.
Right.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah, I'm okay with leaving those dates in February, kind of a little bit in flux right now. In January, we can decide what that looks like. It won't be quite as important.
Yeah.
I guess I do have a question for Ethan. Do we have to give 48-hour notice of these meetings, or any kind of notice of our commission meetings? Maybe he froze out.
Yeah, I think the Brown Act will dictate that at least 72 hours.
72, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
All right, I don't know if we want to circle back to any final thoughts on locations for the workshops.
I feel like, yeah, I mean, it seems like we gave you some feedback. There might be some, and then depending upon when you start taking a look at what's available on what dates, it might sort itself out a bit, right?
Yeah.
Because I mean, I think all of these are fine. I again don't love fairgrounds. That would be my one that I would take out. And I do think that an elementary school might be versus having both middle schools. Just saying, an option. I liked that Spring Lake idea.
I would just like to make sure that schools are going to be open, and if there's any expense that we incur to keep it open or open it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
For the replacing the fairgrounds to possibly the fire station, I'm trying to imagine it. It's the same space that they hold for the pancake event, the indoors. It'd be dark by it'd be a day one, so never mind.
That'd be a good day one, yeah.
So we can check with the fire station. I think I'm good with that.
Okay.
Sorry.
That's a big dog.
Three dogs that all got excited at the same time. Sorry.
No worries. Okay. Was it agreed on Pioneer High School as well? They're going to check on that instead of the community college, or I'm sorry, I had lost on that one.
I just had asked where, like, a good, if there was a kind of a clear meeting place for Spring Lake. It doesn't seem like there is. I think that the Woodland, the community and senior center is a definite. It could be a good Saturday one, right?
Yeah,
so I don't think we need to stay in the order that is currently presented. I mean, better ones, the one's better for Saturday versus an evening or a later afternoon or whatever. Like, I feel like the staff can do some checking and kind of see what's available and come back.
Right. I'm sorry. Yeah, you mentioned the Spring Lake Elementary for this one too as well. I apologize. Okay. Okay. Staff, is there anything else that you need from us?
No, I think that's good. We'll, the commission still feels comfortable meeting again next week. We can, bring back a final recommendation, get you guys to bless it as part of next week's agenda.
Okay.
Yeah. And I think you'd also said, Ken, kind of starting to do a little bit of a deeper dive as to what kind of materials or agendas, or kind of at least begin the thought process with regards to some of it.
Yeah, I mean, I think what I'd like to do is we'll sketch out what a first public hearing set of information that we want to share looks like. And then here's what a community open house workshop, format might look like. So get you guys
I like that.
Next week on both of those. Anna did follow up with our finance to talk around what our timeline would look like to be able to get information in a bill insert, utility bill insert. So Anna, do you want to kind of share that cost and that time frame?
Yeah, so to get an insert in the utility bills would be $1,100. And we would need to give them a lead time of about 1.5 months. And you can either do a full page or a half page. And the insert would go out to the both old school paper billing customers and the electronic billing customers.
I don't think we can make that deadline. And then if we don't have it out before the beginning of the public workshops, to come out in the middle or even too late for it, seems to me, there's a better way to put our efforts forth into publicizing it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a long deadline. Wow.
I do appreciate you looking into it, though.
Welcome.
Ken, you have a comment here. We might be interested in looking at the WeDre.
I'm sorry.
The lines. It's okay.
Thank you.
So we draw the lines. A curriculum developed by Los Angeles and Sacramento Office of Education.
Yeah. That's just to follow up with what Mary said last week in regards to getting teachers, that this curriculum is already written.
Interesting.
And there's pieces that you can take out. So it's not like you have to use the whole thing.
Sorry, and is that geared towards high school students?
High school students, 11th and 12th grade.
Okay.
That's very cool. So with regards to, I agree that the PG&E thing doesn't seem like it'll work. There was another list that Anna sent out that was of all of the different kind of nonprofit organizations that serve Woodland, and also some additional locations in there. Like I'd added in some veterans halls and so on, not all nonprofits, to get information out. And I feel like that's probably where we should spend our time. Is utilizing the community-based organizations to help us get the word out about these workshops, especially.
And then there was a question on if there were any upcoming events. There is the tree lighting on the 3rd of December and the holiday parade on December 11th that is still being planned, has not been canceled as of yet.
Yeah, that's a great point. Those are two really great public community events.
It was a tree lighting, and what was the other one? I'm sorry, Anne.
The holiday parade.
Oh, yes.
Great.
Do we have a plan for, developing whatever we're going to send? I mean, I think that the form that Anna developed for, defining your community of interest and submitting comments is sort of a start, but it seems to me there needs to be a little bit of an introductory message. Maybe we can pull out of the LA curriculum or something, but what is this about? What are we doing? Why should you be interested in this? I don't know. And to me, time is really short for getting that put together. I don't know where we're at on doing something like that.
Yeah, we need to probably draw in our communications manager. I'm always inclined to, in this case, not overdo it, but create some sort of simple brand, right? That sort of carries the theme throughout the process. Redistricting isn't really going to engage people too much, right? So we'll take a look at some of the other communities out there and kind of how they branded their process to get more engagement. And then we'll figure out how to succinctly sort of tell the story about what the exercise is that we're asking the community to help us with. So
is that person available? Do you think that person could join us at the next Monday? Or because I agree with Peggy, the time is definitely short.
Yeah,
I'm sure
he can make the meeting. I wouldn't want to have him come in cold without some initial thoughts, both for your benefit of your time. So why don't I'll talk to him tomorrow to see if he has any time within the schedule this week to give some initial thought and do some research. And if he's available, we'll add him to the agenda. If not, maybe what we'll do is ask you guys to meet a fourth Monday in a row, do it the following week. Because we'll be hitting up against October at that point. And,
for sure.
We'll want to start getting the marketing out for it probably by that second week when we hold the public hearing. So.
I agree with you, Ken. Just sort of a simple message that we keep, posting in different places. But also, like, even if he didn't come to the meeting, if he could if he had some way of just sort of developing one of these communications toolkits, where you can just kind of pick up the message and throw it in an email to your groups that you're involved with, or you can get a Facebook post and you just start pasting it, sharing it so that, or, like, what are those neighborhood email groups?
Well, yeah, something that next door could use, or
Yeah, just so that we would have
from Woodland. You're from Woodland when, like, there's all those different ones.
But if we had a toolkit, like the 5-6 of us could really start moving around a little bit, and I think as much as coming to the meeting, if he could put a little bit of time into doing that, that would be very helpful.
Yeah.
And Ken, when I was looking into the utility bill inserts, actually Finance suggested I contact Spencer. So Spencer gave me the remainder of the information on the utility bill insert. So he knows that I was getting this information for the ARC.
Okay.
And he does know that we may be contacting him.
Yeah. No, he can crank stuff out really quick. So I think he'll have a good handle on it. So I'm optimistic by next week, might even have some draft to share with you guys.
Great.
Cool.
Great.
Okay.
That sounds good.
The only other follow-up from last week was a good suggestion to engage our teen advisory committee at the library. So we've had an initial conversation with the librarian about finding a time on their schedule coming up in November, December to have them take on a little project and have them provide some input as well. So I think we can make that happen.
Great.
Yeah, that's really good. Thanks. We have this competition called Caring for Our Watersheds. And the reason I bring it up is one of the winners of the top 10 last year was Pioneer High School student. And her idea was to create like a big kind of movable bulletin board that went out, you could move it. You could put it in front of the library. You could put it in front of City Hall. You could move it around. And on that bulletin board, you'd have, kind of, in this case, information about how to protect your watershed and environmental stuff. But I'm kind of thinking of that same kind of idea for something like this, a movable bulletin board that you could have out, at the parade. You could have out, I don't know, it just seems like kind of a neat idea. Rather than spending $1,100 on the utility bill.
Right.
There may be something, and again, going back to the students, this was a Pioneer High School students' idea. So maybe that group from the library, the teen group, has some ideas on how to get the word out in a different way. Something that's really visible that people would see as they're driving down Main, or they're driving by the post office or whatever.
So, there's also where you could advertise, isn't it the running of the turkeys, right?
Yeah.
That's another.
Can we put stuff up on the big, dogs. Can we put stuff up on the big bulletin board? The one of it. And 102? Just wondering.
Yeah, no, we have access to that. So we can certainly do some simple messaging to, reinforce, whatever sort of campaign or brand we build around it. Yep.
Cool. Very good. Thank you.
Just as, I don't know if we're finishing up or not, but I wanted to ask if we could get an update from Daniel on the status of the map coming in, any news, any changes that we've heard about?
I have not seen anything. I checked SACOG's website again. They're the ones that are going to be sending us the data. So I checked after our meeting last week, haven't seen anything. Maybe I'll ping them this week and see if there's an update, since we're so close to the end of the month now. So no news really yet, but I'm hoping any day.
Did you have a chance to find a list of criteria that we look at on the map in terms of what kind of data we'll be getting when it comes in?
I think that's all set up in that PL, can't remember the numbers, but it's all those are all the criteria so the census is just this giant set of data, but we get this subset essentially that is used just for redistricting. So, and it's really just comes down to, I think, the key demographics, population, race, and then the voting age. So I think that's really the key components we're going to be working with when we create these. Yeah. So hopefully an update soon. I'm ready to go with. I want that data in my hand, so I'm ready.
It's got schools and churches and things like that on the map too, right?
Yeah, and I have all that already.
Resources. So, you have all that.
I have. I think I counted over 400 map layers that I keep just for our city's data. So I have access to a lot of other data, that we can use in conjunction with this data that's coming. So
yeah, that's what I was kind of interested in learning about. Were we going to have a learning session on this? So is that going to be after we get the map, or? Yeah.
Once I have the tool built, essentially, I don't want to train you on something and then I, shift gears because of technology is limiting me in this area. So, once I have the tool built, then we'll have a training session for sure. Absolutely. Okay. And I can send that out with some documentation. You can have it beforehand. That way, you don't have to come in cold and, maybe have some questions when you come to me to that training. So for sure.
Great. Okay.
I think that would be really helpful. Very amateur with GIS stuff. I know you have the tools for that.
Yeah. Yep. And we want everyone to be able to use it, so try to make it as powerful, but as simple as possible for sure.
What do you all think about, if people do get the markers on the placemat size maps and draw it, would they then take a picture, and would there be a place to upload that to so that we could look at it? Or do you think that would be not feasible or not worth, or overwhelming, maybe if we got too many?
I mean, I'm curious to see. I would like to take all those, but I don't know what Davis did with all that information. I could reach out to their GIS staff and see.
They put it on their website, Danny.
Okay.
They had all the maps available on the website for anybody to look at.
But then do we pull that data in and use it? How do we take that data as a recommendation?
Look at everybody that submitted maps. Yeah, I mean, they're even saying if somebody submits a map on a napkin, if we want 5 districts and somebody submits a map with 6 districts, we have to accept that map. We have to accept every single map.
Okay. Yeah, no.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of getting at is people can submit it in paper, and then what do we do with it? What if people drew around something and then they took a picture of it and sent the picture in? Do we have the capability to at least view that, if not use it in a GIS system?
I mean, it sounds like we would just post it initially, but then, I would try to use all those as, redigitize them essentially and put that into GIS and then run the numbers off that, the digital lines versus their hand drawn. So I don't think it would be too, I don't know. I guess I don't know, but hopefully not too overwhelming. And we could probably recruit some help too, as well, to pull all those in for sure.
City of Davis received 17 of those maps, and they PDF'd them and put them all on the website, made them all available.
They only received 17 total?
Yeah,
these are from community members that drew on a map or drew on this.
Yeah, that's what
that's not nearly what I would have expected. I was expecting you to say hundreds or something.
No, and you can tell their pictures because you can see sometimes people's fingers in there. They took a picture of a map and they made them into
I guess
PDF.
if they did it as a group too, then it would be less of it. Sorry, I've got the mow and blow guys next door, so I'm having a hard time focusing. I don't know what they're doing there at 7:18.
7 p.m. Jeez.
Wow. I'm going to have to.
Well, good. When we can wrap up next meeting, folks are still available. It would be next Monday. We'll finalize the schedule. We'll delve into sort of meeting format and sort of content, I guess, that we want to share. Hopefully have some preliminary thinking around marketing, draft website will be ready to view by then. And then potentially have some updates from Danny on where we're at with the map tool. Communication wise, sorry for the breakdown this week and catching you off guard on checking your City of Woodland email. Is that an email address you guys are comfortable accessing? Part of it is a Public Records Act protection for you guys. We want to make sure that
I think exactly for that, it should be best for us to move forward with that. Just as long as members have access to it, and if not, they can reach out to staff, right?
Yes, because you are listed as the commission members on the website. So I asked IT to create city emails so that if a community member in your district wanted to contact you, they're contacting you via the City of Woodland email address.
I appreciate that very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
on a go-forward basis, look for all communication to come through those email accounts for you guys. And if you have difficulty accessing them, please don't hesitate to reach out to Anna.
And I just want to confirm with Robert. Robert, I see that you're on.
Yes, ma'am.
You're okay with that? The city.
Yeah, I'm fine. I'm fine with that. And my apologies. I went to my tablet eventually, and so which worked, but I hope it worked. I was able to listen mostly.
Okay, thank you.
Is there anything else needed from board members?
No.
Commissioner board members, yeah. Okay. All right.
Yeah, staff's good.
With that being said, I hope everyone has a good night.
Thank
Thank you,
you.
staff.
Okay, thank you.
Have a good evening and rest of the week.
Thank you.
See you next Monday.
Bye-bye.
Monday.
Bye.